Hey everyone, it's Simeon. I want to share a strange experience I had one night that left me questioning everything I thought I knew about my home. It was supposed to be just an ordinary evening, or so I thought. I was home alone, curled up on the couch with a good book. The rain was pouring outside, creating a soothing backdrop that made me feel safe and snug, wrapped in my little cocoon. But as the night wore on, something started to feel off. The calm I had was slowly unraveling, like an invisible thread being pulled from the comfort of the room. Suddenly, I heard it, a faint noise coming from the kitchen. It sounded like something scraping against the floor, slow, deliberate. I paused, my heart racing. I tried to convince myself it was just the house settling, but the sound wouldn't stop. It was rhythmic, almost like a whispering call. Simeon. I set my book down and listened intently. The noise grew louder, and an icy knot formed in my stomach. My feet felt heavy as I got up, each step echoing louder in my mind than the last. I slowly made my way towards the kitchen, the sound now driving me to the edge of panic. When I reached the kitchen, I flicked on the light. The room flooded with brightness, but there was nothing there. No sign of what had caused the noise, just the usual quiet of the kitchen and my breath in the still air. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. But then it happened again. I jumped back, my heart racing. I quickly scanned the room, my pulse pounding in my ears. And then I noticed it. The cabinet door was slightly ajar. My stomach dropped. I felt a cold wave of dread wash over me. With my heart in my throat, I approached the cabinet. My mind raced with possibilities. Was it my imagination? Or was something truly amiss? Slowly, I reached out and opened the door wider. I half expected something to leap out at me. But when I looked inside, there was nothing. Just a few pots and pans. I let out a shaky breath, feeling a mix of relief and lingering fear. I was about to turn away when I heard it again, a soft, almost playful giggle echoing from the hallway. I froze. My heart pounded in my chest as I turned towards the dark hallway. The shadows seemed to stretch and twist, and I could feel the air growing colder. Something or someone was there. I called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" My voice trembled, and I felt stupid for even asking. But deep down, I knew I wasn't alone. Something was waiting, watching. I took another step forward, and suddenly the lights flickered. I gasped, my heart racing as I felt a cold breeze sweep past me. It was as if the air itself had shifted, like something was brushing against my skin. Just then, I heard a loud bang from the living room. I spun around, adrenaline coursing through my veins. My body screamed to run, but I forced myself to move forward, rushing to the living room, half expecting to find something or someone waiting for me. But again, there was nothing, just the faintest echo of my own panic. I stood there for a moment, breathless, trying to shake off the terror that clung to me. Maybe it was all in my head. Maybe I was just being paranoid, but the feeling of being watched, it wouldn't go away. The strange thing is, the next morning, when I woke up, the giggling was gone. The house was quiet again. But that night I learned that sometimes the darkness isn't empty. Sometimes it's just waiting for you to look the other way.
Hey everyone, it's Sarah. I want to share a chilling experience I had while living in an old Victorian house during my college years. It was a beautiful but eerie place, filled with character, and as I would soon discover, a dark history that would haunt me for years to come. The house was built in the late 1800s, and it had seen better days. My friends and I were excited to move in, thinking it would be a fun adventure. But as we settled in, we started hearing whispers about the house being haunted. They said a woman had mysteriously disappeared there many years ago, and her spirit was said to linger forever, searching for something she had lost. It all began on a stormy night. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows, and the old house creaked with every gust. I was in my room, buried in textbooks, when I suddenly heard it, a soft whisper calling my name. At first, I thought it was just the wind playing tricks on me, but then it came again, louder, clearer. "Sarah," it beckoned. But this time, it sounded different, more urgent. Curiosity got the better of me. I followed the sound down the dimly lit hallway, my heart pounding in my chest. With every step, the air grew colder, and I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. The whisper grew louder, echoing in the stillness of the house, until it led me to the attic door. The handle twisted by itself, and before I could even think to turn back, the door creaked open, revealing a dark, dusty space filled with forgotten relics and cobwebs. In the far corner, I saw her, a woman in a flowing white dress, her face hidden in shadows. My breath caught in my throat. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't even blink. She stood there, unmoving, just staring. Then, as if she sensed my presence, she slowly raised her arm, pointing towards an old, worn trunk. A chill ran through my body, and I felt an overwhelming pull to approach it. But as I stepped closer, the lights flickered violently, and just like that, the woman vanished. I stumbled back, my heart racing. The attic felt colder, emptier. My legs shook as I bolted from the attic, slamming the door behind me. But the whispers didn't stop. They followed me, growing louder, more frantic, as if something or someone was desperately trying to get my attention. I rushed to my room, locked the door, but sleep wouldn't come. The storm raged on outside, but inside, I was trapped in a whirlwind of fear and confusion. The whispers never stopped. Every time I closed my eyes, I could still hear her voice, calling my name. The next morning, I gathered my friends, desperate to make sense of what had happened. We decided to dig into the house's history, hoping to uncover the truth behind the ghostly figure. We found old newspaper clippings that told the story of a woman named Eliza, who had lived in the house over a century ago. She was known for her beauty and kindness, but one fateful night, she vanished without a trace. As we read more, we learned that Eliza had been searching for something precious that had been lost. The townsfolk believed she had been searching for her lost love, a man who had promised to return but never did. Consumed by grief, Eliza's spirit was said to roam the house, still searching for him, for what she had lost, and for what she could never find. And that's when I realized that the whispers weren't just random. They were meant for me. The figure in the attic, the trunk she pointed to, it wasn't just a haunting. It was a warning that I was the one she had been waiting for. And that night would change everything. As we left the house that day, the storm finally stopped. But something in me had changed. I left with my friends, but the whispers, they followed me. I can't explain it, but Eliza's search, It wasn't over. Will I ever escape, or am I now a part of her endless search?
Hi everyone, it's Jake. I want to share a terrifying experience I had a few years ago that still sends chills down my spine. I've always been fascinated by the paranormal, but nothing could prepare me for what I encountered one fateful night. I have spent countless nights researching ghost stories and exploring abandoned places. But that night, I was at home, just winding down after a long, exhausting day. It was late, and the house was eerily quiet. The only sounds were the occasional creak of the floorboards. The house almost felt alive, like it was breathing with me. I was scrolling through old photos on my phone, trying to shake off the unease I'd been feeling all day. But then, out of nowhere, a sudden chill filled the air. It wasn't just cold, it was unnatural, like something had shifted in the room. I shrugged it off, telling myself it was just my imagination. But then I saw it, a shadow, lurking at the end of the hallway. It was tall and dark, almost blending into the darkness itself. It wasn't just the absence of light, it was a presence. My heart stopped. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, hoping it would disappear. But when I looked again, it was still there, unmoving, watching. Then it moved, slowly, as if it was aware I was watching. A wave of terror hit me, and I felt paralyzed. I could feel my breath quicken, my pulse racing. I knew I had to move, had to get out, but my body wouldn't respond. Finally, panic surged through me, and I bolted, running down the stairs, heart pounding in my chest. I could hear my own breath echoing in my ears as I reached the front door. But just as I was about to escape, I turned back. I don't know why. Maybe it was the fear or something else pulling me to look one last time. Oh, when I turned back, the figure was gone, vanished, just like that. I stood there, trembling, trying to convince myself it was just my mind playing tricks on me. But deep down, I knew. What I had seen was real. The air felt thick, suffocating. The silence was deafening. My body refused to stop shaking. I spent the rest of the night on the couch, too terrified to go back to my room. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. Something not quite human, not quite natural. The next day, I researched what I had seen. Shadow figures. Dark humanoid shapes that are often seen just out of the corner of one's eye. Many people have reported similar encounters. Figures that watch, or even follow. Some say they're manifestations of fear, negative energy. But others believe there's something far darker, something that feeds on your fear. What struck me most about the experience was the overwhelming sense of fear, the unknown. Shadow figures are said to represent our deepest anxieties. They lurk just out of sight, waiting to pounce when we least expect it. And that night, I learned something chilling. Sometimes, the darkness holds secrets we're not ready to face. I don't know what it wanted or why it appeared that night, but I haven't been able to forget that feeling, knowing it was there, watching, and I'm not sure I ever will. Are we ever really alone